As we move forward from understanding the foundational risks of water quality, we now transition into a deeper layer of analysis: what is actually in the water and how it creates liability. In the previous section, we established that water quality can become a material fact under AAC R4-281101 and must be disclosed when known. Now we take that concept further by identifying specific contaminants that create both health risks and legal exposure. This is where knowledge turns into action, and where real estate professionals must begin thinking like risk managers. Not all substances found in water are harmful. Some are essential to human health. Minerals such as calcium and magnesium are naturally occurring and beneficial. However, the presence of other inorganic contaminants introduces serious concerns. The key distinction is not whether a substance exists, but whether it exists at a level that impacts health, safety, or property value. When that threshold is crossed, it becomes a material issue that must be addressed within the transaction. One of the most historically significant contaminants is asbestos, which was widely used in construction materials, including water pipes and infrastructure. Although largely banned in 1989, asbestos can still be present in older systems and may enter drinking water through deterioration of these materials. Long-term exposure has been linked to cancer, and because asbestos fibers do not break down in the environment, they can remain present for decades. From a transaction standpoint, properties with older infrastructure should raise awareness for potential testing and disclosure. Lead remains one of the most critical environmental concerns in residential real estate. While it is rarely found in source water, it commonly enters drinking water through corrosion of plumbing materials, particularly in homes built prior to 1986. Even newer systems may contain trace amounts due to allowable lead-free standards. Low-level exposure can affect brain development in children, increase blood pressure in adults, and lead to long-term health issues such as kidney disease and cancer. This ties directly into federal disclosure requirements under the Residential Lead-Based Paint Hazard Reduction Act of 1992, as well as Arizona disclosure expectations under AAC R4-281101. Consider a real-world example. An agent lists a home built in 1975 with original plumbing. The seller is unaware of any issues, and no visible defects exist. However, a buyer conducts a water test and discovers elevated lead levels. At this point, the issue becomes material. Failure to properly disclose or address this condition could expose both the seller and the agent to liability under Arizona law and federal regulations. Copper, while an essential nutrient, can also become hazardous when present in high concentrations. Similar to lead, copper contamination typically results from corrosion of plumbing systems. Elevated levels may cause gastrointestinal distress, liver damage, and kidney issues. This reinforces a critical takeaway. Even treated municipal water can become contaminated before it reaches the tap, making point-of-use conditions highly relevant in real estate transactions. Mercury and nitrates represent additional categories of concern, often tied to environmental and industrial factors. Mercury contamination has been linked to industrial waste, batteries, and chemical manufacturing, while nitrates are commonly associated with agricultural runoff and fertilizer use. High nitrate levels in drinking water can be particularly dangerous for infants, leading to serious health conditions. For properties located near agricultural areas or industrial zones, these risks should be part of the agent's due diligence mindset. Understanding contamination is only part of the equation. Knowing how to respond is equally important. The environmental industry has developed several methods to reduce or eliminate inorganic contaminants, including distillation, ion exchange systems, lime softening, and reverse osmosis. While agents are not expected to be environmental experts, they are expected to recognize red flags and recommend appropriate professional inspections, as supported by ADRI guidance and the duty to exercise reasonable care. This leads us to one of the most practical questions in real estate: when should water be tested? Even though public water systems are regulated, they are not immune to issues. Contamination can occur within distribution systems or through deteriorating plumbing on the property itself. For this reason, best practice, especially in Arizona, is to recommend water testing whenever there is any uncertainty about quality, including private wells, older homes, or properties near potential contamination sources. A comprehensive water test should evaluate multiple factors, including coliform bacteria, nitrates, lead, pH levels, total dissolved solids, TDS, and corrosion potential. The presence of coliform bacteria, for example, may indicate contamination from human or animal waste and signal the possible presence of more harmful pathogens. At this point, the transaction has shifted from a routine sale to a potential risk scenario requiring disclosure, negotiation, and possibly remediation. As we prepare to move into the next section of this course, it is important to recognize how these environmental concerns expand beyond water. The same principles, identification, disclosure, and risk management, apply to other hazardous materials such as lead-based paint, radon, and mercury exposure. What begins as a simple water test can evolve into a broader investigation of environmental safety, reinforcing the importance of diligence at every stage of the transaction. Online discussion. Why is it not enough for an agent to rely solely on municipal water testing when advising a buyer? Answer: municipal water may meet regulatory standards at the source, but contamination can occur within the distribution system or the property's plumbing. Agents must recommend independent testing when appropriate to ensure accurate conditions at the point of use. How can inorganic contaminants create legal liability in a real estate transaction? Answer: if contaminants affect health, safety, or property value, they become material facts. Failure to disclose known issues can violate AAC R428-1101 and expose agents and sellers to legal action, including claims of misrepresentation. What role does an agent play when environmental hazards are suspected but not confirmed? Answer: the agent should recommend further investigation by qualified professionals, avoid providing expert opinions beyond their scope, and ensure that clients are informed of potential risks consistent with ADRI expectations and professional standards.